Good morning, SLCA. How are all my friends doing, live and online? We are so happy to see everyone today. We're going to start with a little bit of prelude, so if you're out bouncing around, you come on in and find your seat. And we're going to do some music that's nice and sweet. We're going to start out with a little call and response, namaste. Namaste, the light in me sees the light in you. The joy in me celebrates you. Just like this. Get your hips moving a little bit. I see Reverend Kelly Thomas. Oh, and her lovely wife. Here we go. Namaste. 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 Ah. Namaste. Ah. The light in me, the light in me, sees the light in you, sees the light in you. The joy in me, the joy in me, celebrates you, celebrates you. Yeah, namaste, 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 ah, namaste, ah, namaste. Namaste, oh namaste. The truth in me, the truth in me, sees the truth in you, sees the truth in you. My spirit now celebrates you, celebrates you. Yeah, namaste, namaste, namaste. The love in me, the love in me, sees the love in you, sees the love in you. My soul on high, my soul on high, celebrates you, celebrates you. We're in the home stretch. Namaste, 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 ah, namaste, ah, namaste. Yeah, namaste, yeah, namaste, oh, namaste, oh, namaste, yeah, namaste, namaste, oh, namaste, oh, namaste. I always love that. So that's my dad's low bass voice on the namaste. I love hearing his voice on the music. All right, here's some Karen Drucker for you. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings, love gives me everything I need. Joy, joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Strength, strength is my source. Strength is my power. Strength gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Strength gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything. Little Karen Drucker for you. Come on in. And what do you follow up Karen Drucker with? Well, Ricky Byers, of course. Here we go. I love myself. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, so you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Come on, sing it with me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. One more time. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Good job. All right, here's a little Spirit in Me now. We're gonna put our hands together. And there are a couple of dance moves if you feel so inclined. We're gonna boogie on out of this space and move into a bigger and better space. It's gonna be awesome. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. I think you can do it. Let's practice. I'm free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. Oh, I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Put your hands together. Every day, people around me say we are connected through God in every way. As we throw our fear and doubt aside, we are perfected in the joy that God creates. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sing it loud and strong. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Yes, I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Yes, I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Yes, I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Well, every day, people around me say, let's come together through God in every way. As we throw our fear and doubt aside, we'll live forever in the joy that God creates. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sing it loud and strong. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Yes, I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. I am free. I'm great. No longer do I wait. I got the power of Spirit in me now. Now let's rub all that power together here. Condense it, concentrate it. We're gonna give it to the world on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, great job, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Morning, wherever you are, every place in the world. And I just send a happy, healthy morning ahead to just make the way for this teaching to show up in those places that are waiting for us. My name is Nana. My pronouns are she and her, and I privately serve as a practitioner at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that educates and engages the seeker on their path. As a member of the global movement Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for everyone. No matter where you are in your spiritual journey, SLCA is where you belong. For more information about today's service and ways to connect during the week, please take a moment to scan the QR code found either on the back of the seat in front of you or the one displayed on your monitor. We are grateful for your presence this morning.
Speaking of grateful, let's sing our opening song. Go, let's stand up. There we go, people. Come on, wake up. Here we go. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for this love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Yes, the love of God is here. Great job, everyone. Welcome, welcome. You may be seated.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. I'm David Alexander, spiritual director here. My pronouns are he and his. I'm delighted to welcome you into this space for the last time. How about that? How about that? That feels a little weird to clap for. It was like, what does that mean? We are leaving this space and moving on to greener pastures in the afternoon. Woke up this morning and said, this is the last time I'm going to do this. Morning routine that we got down. I said, last week I told some folks, I said, you know what happens next week is we become brunch people. And then somebody told me that meant something, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But anyway, we'll have a whole new rhythm and pattern next week. But today, we close out this series on light from within the shadows, theme on the Science of My magazine. We've got Memorial Day weekend, and we've got celebrating and honoring our time in this space. So a lot to get in today. The affirmation is this. It says, I shine my unique light on life's center stage. I honor the past through healing, shining, and moving into greater good day by day. I'll say it one piece at a time and ask you to then say it with me one section at a time and then third time all together. I shine my unique light on life's center stage.
I shine my unique light on life's center stage.
I honor the past through healing, shining, and moving into greater good day by day.
Into greater good day by day.
And so it is. Now let's do it all together, one voice. I shine my unique light on life's center stage. I honor the past through healing, shining, and moving into greater good day by day. And so it is, and so we are. Give each other a hand for being here today. Let's have a great day together.
I am blessed, I am blessed. Every moment I'm mine. I am blessed, 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 blessed. When I'm done and I lay my head to rest, I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. I am blessed, I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed, 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 blessed. In the morning when I rise, in the evening when I rest, I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. One more time. I am blessed, I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed, 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 blessed. In the morning when I wake, when I'm there to rest, I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. Yeah.
Okay, we have come to the fun part, the affirmative prayer. And I will speak in first person, and you may choose and take whatever I say as your own, because we are one. So take a deep breath, and let us all come into this space, knowing that in this moment, we pause to just acknowledge and celebrate, and to know together that there is one God, one Spirit, one mind. And I have my center and my being and my coming and my going in this being, this oneness. There is no separation between me and it. And knowing this, it is an assurance to me. I know I am never alone. I am never abandoned. I am not even on my own, because this one intelligence is mine to use. It is mine to access. It is mine to embody. And with that embodiment and the assurance, I know that I am the light and I shine. And the light chases away the dark. And the light is also a lamp to my feet. So wherever I am there by divine appointment at the right time, in the right place, as the right person, the right being. And then I can just be and act and do as I am led, because I'm also an obedient being. And I recognize the higher consciousness and the higher good that I can embody. I am so grateful for this. I am so grateful for this teaching that helps me through those dark moments, that has me grounded knowing that this will pass, and that Spirit has my back, my front and my sides. I have no reason to fear, because Spirit knows no failure. I am thankful for all who show up, whether it's in the room here with me, the different places across the world, online. I am grateful for all who are opening and expanding, and I am grateful for the change that we all can make. I am grateful for our fearless leader whose word is just always on point. Sometimes I get the feeling that he's in my head, and that was the message I needed. And I say thank you. I thank you for all who serve. I thank you for all who just are, who are here, because we all belong here. And it is great to belong to a place this wonderful. I know that these words go before me. It's already been done. And so I just open up, and I'm grateful. And join me as we both announce, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. as I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. So we're talking about shining the light within us, using the gifts that are ours. And we're going to sing a song called Do What Makes Our Heart Sing. I always like to do things that everybody can participate in. So at the end, I'll be asking you to help me out. Going out into the world and doing what is yours to do. Letting your light shine. Let's do what makes our hearts sing. Using all the gifts we have to bring into this world today. Let's do what makes our hearts sing. Celebrate that special thing that keeps us dancing on our way. Life's too short to settle for less. So tell me, why on earth would we do that? No, we don't want to find 10 years down the line that we chose to give in to compromise. So let's do what makes our hearts sing, using all the gifts we have to bring into this world today. Let's do what makes our hearts sing, celebrate that special thing that keeps us dancing on our way. Now it's our duty to recognize the beauty of seemingly simple moments that go by. And it's our given right to shine our inner light and find a way to live a happy life. Oh, now is the time to free our minds and do what makes our hearts sing, using all the gifts we have to bring into this world today. Let's do what makes our hearts sing, celebrate that special thing that keeps us dancing on our way. Let's do what makes our hearts sing. 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 Can you sing it with me? Let's do what makes our hearts sing. Sing it like you mean it. Let's do what makes our hearts sing. Two more times. Let's do what makes our hearts sing. Let's do what makes our hearts sing.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, give her some more love. All right, take a deep breath. If you're feeling awake this morning, or if you're not feeling awake and you want to feel awake, let's go ahead and affirm together, I am awake. I am awake. Inviting all the senses of our being, of all the chakra center, energy centers of the body, the third eye, all the way into our sacred center, sacrum. I am awake. Feel the energy moving through you, and as you are awake, allow yourself to be available. Say, I am available. Available to insight, available to wisdom, available to transformation, available to hear what you came here to hear today. I am available. Take a breath in. As you make yourself available, then know right here and right now that you are enough. I am enough. Oh, there's nothing I need to do, nothing I need to change. I simply need to receive that all that is before me today, just as I am enough. And if you're awake, available, and enough, then go ahead and know that you are ready. Declare it. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. Let's go. There you go. I like it. I am ready. Oh, yes. Well, here we are. Last Sunday in this space. It's been, is it 5 years in this? 5? It's 4 years for me, 5 for the community. So 5 years in this space, and so much to pack in today. My notes are just all over the place. So just bear with me as we just try to get it all in. It's also Pentecost Sunday. Right? I wondered if anybody would go. So what does that mean? If you don't know, what does Pentecost Sunday mean? It means you'll have a little bit more time to get to the buffet line this morning, because everybody who believes the buffet line, because everybody else who believes in Pentecost Sunday, they're going to be a little bit longer. That's what I'm going to say. They'll be a little bit delayed today. No, it is biblically speaking, it's commemorating the day in which the disciples gathered in the upper room and had an experience of Pentecost, or the fire of tongues above their heads, speaking in a common language where they could understand each other. So it's metaphorically is symbolic of that space in which we come into a message, or an intuition and an understanding of something that transcends language, culture, time, space, everything. Something universal. So I pray that our message today contributes to that collective awakening in the humanity, as many people celebrate that in various ways. And of course, we have our series wrapping up of Light Within the Shadows. What we know is that we have choice in everything that we do, and we have choice in how we show up to what I would call the center stage of the production of our life, right? And if that's true, then we have responsibility and the opportunity for accountability for the role that we play, for our preparedness, for our readiness, for knowing our lines, for being able to know where to stand, and all that we bring to it. And if so, then are we willing to bring all that we are, so that we can grow, so that we can develop, so that we can dig deeper, so that we can get the most out of the play that is unfolding around us? And if we're willing for that, then it's up to us to look at what we bring, the quality, the offering, the mental intuition, the attentiveness, all of those things, and to examine if there's anywhere where we're holding back, where we're playing small, where we're not receiving feedback, where we're have the opportunity to improve our performance, and what we take with us on the journey, which is why I think the metaphor of the move is so powerful. I'll be talking today about, what do you take with you when you move, right? It's a conscious choice to choose what you take with you and what you don't take with you, right? So all of these things. It's also Memorial Day weekend, and we honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice of their life for our nation and our freedoms, because they were called out and did not come back. I have a third great-grandfather up in the National Cemetery up in Chattanooga, who I never knew about till I moved down here to the South. And was doing some ancestry and was like, oh, that little dot is really close to where I am. What is that? And I clicked on it. Heard a whole story about, it's part of the Illinois infantry for the Union, and was part of the Battle of Chattanooga, and it's the Lookout Mountain and all of that. Was actually the individual who carried the flag for the Illinois infantry up to the top of the mountain, and after he was the third person to carry the flag, because the other two people who were carrying the flag got shot and died, and the flag fell, so somebody had to pick up the flag. And he picked up the flag and made it all the way to the top, and was shot and killed when he got to the top. Sounds like a scene from Forrest Gump, doesn't it? As I was describing it in that way. But he's there. I have a grandfather who fought in World War II and came back, did not die in the war, but was the other side of what we don't often talk enough about, the mental health aspect, was so traumatized by what he saw that when the Korean War came around and he was called back, rather than face the realities of war again, he took his own life and left wife and 2 young children that were my mother and my aunt, who were 3 and 6 years old at the time. And so many of us, I know, have been affected by war and by families in military service, directly and indirectly, and we want to honor all of that. And I thought of a passage from the Gospel of Luke. This phrase came to me, and I had read it before and recently had heard it again. And so I looked it up and I said, yeah, this kind of fits, because it fits this idea of what do we do? How do we appropriately honor, and what do we do with this energy of sacrifice? And the passage, if you bear with me, I'll share it with us. I know we don't do a lot of deep dive in Bible stuff. We do kind of drive-by Bible. So we'll do some drive-by. We're going to slow down just a little bit so we're going to get a good look at it, and then we're going to keep going. Okay, is that all right? It's New Thought Bible. We don't stop too long, but we just drive. We just oh, look at that. Yeah, it's like when you moved into a new house and you drive by and somebody's put a couch out. You just got to slow down just long enough to see if it's a good couch. Just no, keep going. The passage says this. It's from Luke 23. It's verses 26 through 31. There's only one little section of that I want to focus on, though. It says, the context for this is Jesus after he's been tried and convicted by Pilate, and so it's that end of that Holy Week. So this is quoted a lot during Easter, which is why it was recently on my mind, because I had looked over all of these things. And so it says this. It says, as the soldiers led him away, so this is after Pilate has said, I'm done with you and all of this stuff, and as the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon, who was on his way in from the country. They put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. And this is the part I want to focus on. And a large number of people followed him, including the women, who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned to them and said, daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. And then he goes on, and that's this section I really want to focus on, but I'll give you the whole context of everything just so we understand. He says, for the time will come when you will say, blessed are the childless women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. And then he goes on at the end of that passage to say, for if they will do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry? In other words, if the government, if the institution, if the state will act this way when times are good, what will they do when times are bad, right? And so there's a crowd that's following him, and he turns and I love the way the passage is written, including the women. Somebody say, including the women. Somebody decided to be inclusive in this part of the Bible. They said, including the women. And Jesus turned to them and said, daughters of Jerusalem. So he addresses them as a group, daughters of Jerusalem, which is to signify this idea that there is something common about their identity that he understands. You'll understand this because you're all daughters. Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. In other words, he says, I understand the role that I have. I understand what's happening here. I understand the sacrifices taking place. But it's you who are left with the mourning. Don't mourn for me. Right? Mourn for yourselves and for your children, because if this can happen here, it can happen anywhere. If this can happen now, when the trees are green, what happens when they're dry? If this can happen to one person, it can happen to... You see, it's once again a subversive political text that is talking about be mindful of how you mourn. It's not just for those that have made the sacrifice, but it is for the collective and for future generations Systemically, what do we do about the conditions that led to this? Because this is not just a one-off. This can happen again. You get that? Mourn, daughters of Jerusalem, mourn for yourselves and for your children. And so with that kind of as our backdrop, what do we do as a nation to appropriately mourn, to appropriately memorialize, to appropriately understand, as Jesus understood, the women would know something about the ones who they would know something about sacrifice, the birth of the pain of birth and separation and nurturing and loss. That's why he clarifies, for there will be a time when you will bless those that are childless, right? The womb that's never birthed and breast that's never nursed. In other words, he's saying those that don't know the sacrifice that you know as daughters of Jerusalem, right? How do we appropriately memorialize the over 1 million lives that we've lost in wars in this country since the Civil War? What do we do if you are the ones left behind, suffering the effects of a cruel and unjust sacrifice? Women and children are often the ones left behind, suffering after war, as my grandmother and her 2 daughters were left behind after the effects of the cruelty of war. Women and children are the ones that suffer the consequences of cruel decisions made by unjust systems and men who enact them. And so the purpose of memorializing is to bring attention to and honor what is the best way, if not the only way, what is the best way that we can honor a wound? Acknowledge it. How about this? How about one step further? Heal it. The best way that you honor a wound is by healing it. Triple antibiotic ointment. Come on, put some stuff on it. Slather it up. That's acknowledging it. That's recognizing that it's there, and that's addressing it, right? All of those things that are part of healing it. Though you honor the wound by healing it. I want you to take that in. You honor the wound by healing it. You don't honor it by carrying it around and saying, "This is my wound. Look how it bleeds." Right? That only makes you continue to suffer, and then you try to force your suffering on everybody else. You honor the wound by healing it. And so, as we honor those who gave their life in war, the best way to honor them is to heal the wound that caused the war and not engage in that anymore. In New Thought, we know that all transformation comes from within, and therefore it starts with our own consciousness, which is not our own, but our own individualized expression of it, but that's another sermon for another day. But we heal the wound, the division, the separation, the pain, the despair, the lack, the limitation within ourselves, so that we are whole beings expressing more love, more beauty, more transformation, more generosity, more justice in our own beings, such that the world becomes a lighter and better place as a result of us healing our wounds. And then the need for war begins to decrease. You following what I'm saying? And so we've been looking at all month at how to heal it by recognizing the light that comes from the shadows, that we indeed have to look at it. A large number of people followed him, including the women, who mourned and wailed for him. And he said, "Do not mourn for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children." And so if we turn and look, we've been kind of focusing all month on this idea of what does it mean to turn and look at the wound, because it's painful And it's uncomfortable to look at the shadow side of life. It's uncomfortable. And as New Thought people, as I said last week, we like to rush to the resurrection. We like to rush to the transformation part. We don't want to talk about the gooey stage. We want to talk about the beautiful wings that come out of the butterfly. We don't want to talk about the part where it's eating itself alive, right? I mean, we'll mention it, but can we just move on? You know, we want to do drive-by on that too. Like, oh, yeah, it gets really messy right there in the middle, but let's move on. Kind of like the way my wife watches movies sometimes. I'm gonna pay for that one dearly, but she will fast forward on that thing. I don't want to watch this part. And I'm like, I can't. I don't know what's happening anymore because I missed that dialogue. And she's like, it's not important. I'm like, have you seen this episode? Have you seen it? No, it's not important. Oh, okay. Right? And that's how we treat the shadow side of life. We like to skip, fast forward, not talk about it too much, gently acknowledge it, but not really stay with it. And so I've been trying to invite us to really stay with it all month, as it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and to really understand what we're coming out of, as we're coming out of the pandemic, as we're coming out of this time and season that we have been in, and it's all poetically wrapped up in, and now are picking up and moving to a new location, a new time, a new space, to really understand what's happening as we look in the rearview mirror. The kind of madness that we are facing in our society, kind of madness that will, when we look at it, steal our sleep, that will rob us of our peace, that will rise our levels of stress and anxiety, that's born of a global pandemic and its residual trauma to our collective as well as our individual lives. A kind of madness that if we look at it, we see it playing out as bullying our LGBTQAI plus siblings all across the nation, and doing it so through policy and legislation. The kind of madness that has the gun lobby asking us to offer up the blood of our children to satiate its bidding power. The kind of madness that tries to convince us that Mrs. Doubtfire reading To Kill a Mockingbird or Alice Walker is more dangerous than actual American history. Kind of madness. Seems silly when we're passing by it quickly, but can we stop and really look at it? And if you think, well, that's not me, I'm not really worked up or thinking too much about those things or stressed out. Here's some interesting statistics that just came out from the American Psychological Association. 76% of Americans say that the state of the nation is a source of stress. The state of our nation, 76 all Americans. It goes into racial demographics of that, and then everything that I'm sharing, much higher in people of color and low income, low wealth populations. But the general statistics are this: 76% of Americans say that the state of the nation is a source of stress. 83% of all Americans say they're stressed out about inflation. People of color represent the highest in that particular concern about inflation. 75% say that violence and crime have affected their stress level. Violence and crime in their cities and neighborhoods and in general in the nation. 74% say that healthcare is stressing them out. A large percentage of people are saying that these stresses are affecting their ability to make decisions, to go to work, to get out of the house. As the pandemic ends, corporations are facing they're calling everybody back, and people resisting, saying, I can't go back, I don't want to go back, I won't go back. And this friction and tension that it's creating. And then we see in spiritual communities all across every denomination a mass exodus of church participation, and yet now more than ever people are actually looking for sanctuary. They're just not looking on Sunday mornings. Mm-hmm. And maybe they'll look Sunday afternoon. Amen, somebody. Come on. Right? But there's this awareness that those are, I think it's important to presence that there's this idea that there are those that are not with us today because it was difficult for them to make that decision, to get out of the house, to choose to be with people, all of those different things, right? But I have good news in the midst of all these statistics as we take the time to really look at this. We as a community are, in fact, on the move. And as I said, I wanted to look at what do we choose to pack when we're moving. I've done this a few times. Maybe you've done it a few times. Moved neighborhoods, houses, apartments to house, first house, second house, whatever the case may be, city, new job, new thing, whatever. And there's an immediate sorting and shifting that once you make the decision, right? You walk through the house differently, don't you? Immediately it's, we're going to keep that. We're definitely keeping that. We're definitely keeping that. We're definitely, right? There's immediate sorting of the things that are important that even if we don't have room for that, we've got to keep that because it belonged to my great whatever, or it's my favorite piece, or we got it when we were on vacation, or this, that, or the other thing, or I just like it, whatever it is, right? You have these things, I just like it. It might even be your partner's like, I don't know why we keep that thing, but because he or she or they just like it. I don't know why we kept it, but they like it. And so immediately there's the things that are in, the things that are out, and then there's everything in between. And the longer we spend time, what I've noticed is the pattern is the longer that we spend time in contemplation about the process of moving, the larger that pile gets. And the more likelihood, the closer the deadline to the time to move, the more likely most of those things get in a box and go somewhere. Because all of a sudden we panic and things begin to get into what I call the mystery box. And the mystery box is, well, just pack it up and take it, just right? Just it's that box, right? Just put it in a thing and put it over there and we'll deal with it later. It's the we'll deal with it later box. It wasn't clear enough to get rid of it in the beginning. It wasn't clear enough to make space for it in the new place. But yet somehow it fell in the gap. Am I the only one? Y'all know what I'm talking about? It fell in the gap, right? There's a gap. And then and there's a box right there in that gap for some reason. There's a box there, and it just falls in. We put it in a box, and then we just say, just put it on the truck. We just take that with us. The if I have room pile and all of that. And then so we get to the new place, and the first thing we do is we take the most important things, the most precious things, the most valuable things, the things that mean the most to us, and those come out first, and those get on the wall, and those get in place, and those get positioned, and all of that stuff, and we feel really good. Oh, look, this place is looking great. It's exactly what I thought it was going to look like. It's exactly where I wanted it to be. It's exactly, maybe if we put that over there, it's even better. Okay, great, right? And then we keep going, and pretty soon we get tired, but we've got all the essential things out. We can cook, we can sit, we can watch TV, we can sleep, we can do the things we need to do, we can find something to wear tomorrow morning. And so therefore, the rest of these things just put them over there. As a matter of fact, we don't have anybody staying in that room right now, so just put them in that room, right? And that way we know where all of it is. And tomorrow we can go in that room and you know what we'll do? You know what we'll do is we'll take one box a day out of the room. Am I talking to anybody here? We'll take one box out of the room every day. You and I, we'll make a commitment. Every day we'll take one box. And we'll go through the whole box. Everything that's in that box, we'll make a decision about that box. And you get through maybe 1 or 2 days of doing that before the door to that room or garage or attic or basement or unused space or whatever it is, or God forbid, a storage space that you're paying monthly on. Come on, somebody. Or just put her over there. It's only $1 for the first month. We'll just pull down the door and put a padlock on it. and all of these mysterious things. And so the question becomes, what are we really taking with us? And are we dragging around things that we don't need, things that if we really did need, we could have, especially if we're paying for storage, could have bought 10 times over by now? Or, right, it would be a new model and a new color and a new whatever, a new, or maybe they're irreplaceable, but they're not so irreplaceable that we found a nice shelf and a place to put them in our house. And so they're in a box. I had a box in my office. Boxes, 2 or 3 of them, truth be told, in my office at home for the last 4 years. I just recently, because I had to create a new kind of studio space to do some recordings and stuff for our New Thought education platform. And so I needed that space cleared out, so I could put the screen and the camera in. But that place previously was occupied by a series of boxes that was full of nothing. Now, I don't mean that they were empty. I mean they were full of nothing. Notebooks and spiral bound and papered things and whatnots and things that I couldn't even tell you. If you say, I'll give you $1 million right now, you tell me one thing that was in that box, I would lose out on that money. But it was there because I couldn't put it in the garage because it was my stuff. And it was my office, and it was stuff that was supposed to be in the office. Why was it supposed to be in the office? Because it came from the other office. And the box clearly said on it, office. Because when I moved, I packed everything up, and I said, this box goes to the office. And so I went to the office, and now there it is, exactly where it's supposed to be, doing nothing but taking up space. And so what are we carrying around with us after 44 years of ministry? As we are on them, somebody said, Because if you know this about yourself, you know that if you've moved from apartment to house or house to a better house, a retirement house, or you've downsized, you've upsized, whatever it's been, you know this process I'm talking about, you know about these different kinds of boxes. And they work for us emotionally as well. Right? The reason when people feel anxiety about life circumstances and situations, and this used to be a favorite metaphor that New Thought authors would use, Ernest Holmes, Raymond Charles Barker, others have used these in several of their books, telling stories about there was this person who came to me for treatment, and they were all aflux about this, that, or other condition in their life, and they moved to another city. And they were so happy to report to me that everything had shifted, and they were so happy. And then 3 months later, they came back to me, and everything was back. The bad relationship, the bad experience, the bad whatever, right? Because it works mentally, just in the same way that it does physically, that we're actually dragging around these invisible boxes of mysterious stuff that we have not decided whether it's good for us or bad for us, or something we want on the wall or don't want on the wall, but we can't quite figure out what to do with it, and so we just carry it around. Mentally, we carry it around. And so I want us to invite us, as we move forward as a ministry, to really be mindful about what we're bringing into the room, because it turns out that we are truly stepping into what you would call church without walls. Now you say, wait, no, there's physical space over there. It's big, it's beautiful, it's a lot bigger than this space. Yeah, but you know what? None of the walls are ours. Kennedy over there has got to have a place to go. Don't worry, I'm taking him. He's going to come home with me. But we've got other things on the walls. The walls are not ours. They belong to somebody else. So we are a church without walls. We will have beautiful facilities. We'll have a wonderful fellowship hall. We'll have gorgeous classrooms, wonderful sanctuary, magnificent experience. But there is no place to put our stuff. Right? We will express ourselves. We will have things that represent our community, and we'll have a look and feel. I'm not saying that we won't have that, but what I'm saying is we won't have the place for the mystery boxes and the things and the stuff. And so it's a perfect opportunity for us to check in also energetically. There are people in the room. Reverend Kelly Thomas, trained by Kennedy Schultz. We got some other Kennedy babies here. Where are the Kennedy babies at? Come on. Been around for a while, some Kennedy babies, taking classes, listen to sermons. Have the cassettes. Come on, amen somebody. Have the cassettes. Oh, in a box. In a box somewhere. Come on now. I have those cassettes in a box somewhere and couldn't find a device to play them on. If they paid you $1 million, you would have you'd have to go to the antique store and say, do you have one of those things? There was somebody on TikTok that I saw that had an old, it was a fake old radio, but it was made to look like one of the old wooden radio kind of things. And she thought it was so cool. She was this young TikTok person. You know the ones. The ones that are on the TikTok. And she's talking about how cool and retro and old-fashioned this. And she goes, it's not really old-fashioned, but it's made to look old-fashioned. And she said, and then on the side, it's got this thing. And on the side was a place for tapes. And she said, and it's got this door. And she said, and I just don't know what this is. I know the knobs are to find the stations, and this is on and off, and this is volume, and this, and look, it has this weird, like, red dial that you have to do to find, that's how you find the station. That's cool. That's the way they did it back in the old days, So she knew everything else about the radio, but she said, I don't know, I do not know what this thing on the side is. And she said, so I asked the people at the front, they said, what is this thing on the side? They said, that's for tape. And she said, well, why would you want tape on your radio? Why would you need and she thought like a tape dispenser. She said, well, I don't know, maybe it's in your office and you might need to get tape while you're listening to the radio. And she said, I thought it was a little holder for the old, the iPod. They had the iPods, and she said, my mom had this stand that you could put the little dock that you could put the iPod in, and so maybe you used to be able to put the iPod into this thing. And the lady at the front said, no, it's for tapes. And she said, tapes of what? And she said, tapes that had music on it. And she said, you could put music on tape? Lord Jesus. And so some of us have the Kennedy tape. That's where I was. Kennedy babies, right? When we had our 40th anniversary, this is one of the things that will go with us that you'll see from time to time. I purchased this for the community for our 40th birthday. And the reason I did, because I wanted us to remember that who we are as a community is not bound by walls. It's not bound by things. But the essence of what a community is the flame, Pentecost Sunday. The flame that we carry. The language that we speak about the community, the values that are in it, that each one of us, the flame is a little bit different. The things that fuel the flame. Those of you that came from the Kennedy era have that spark and that essence of the Kennedy teaching, and those that came from the Paul Gagné, and it has the sides, and eventually what we're going to do sooner than later is get some little plaques and put them on each of the sides, and so we'll have Kennedy and the years that he was the senior minister, and Paul Gagné on the other side and the years that he was the senior minister, and David Alt and the years that he was the senior minister, and then there'll be a blank space for me. We'll just leave a blank for a little while, okay? Put a placeholder. I'll put some tape on it. Reserved for, right? But the idea is that each one of us came from a different era. We got who the Paul Gagné babies at. You came during Paul Gagné's time, right? Okay, so Kennedy taught Paul. Paul was a student of Kennedy's, like Kelly. And of the many, oh my God, I did a chart once. Dozens and dozens of students that were taught by Kennedy Schultz. And so Paul came, and Paul had his piece and contribution to the fire, and the classes that he taught, and the sermons that he gave, and the music that was present, and the students that came, and the people who participated, and they contributed to the flame, and the flame continued to burn in each of us and in this community for the 44 years. And then those who came when David Alt arrived. We have David Alt babies. Some of you were here. You came from Kennedy and stayed all the way through, but some of you maybe walked in the door during David Alt's time. And then now I'm here, and the flame continues, and we continue to carry it. And so I got this for our 40th because I wanted us to remember that wherever we go, whatever we do, we carry this flame with us. What a community is the flame that it carries and the story that it tells on its sacred journey. And so it's wise for us to unpack the boxes, to identify in our mind what are the key things. Like, that is valuable. That is from Kennedy, I remember this. From Paul, I remember this. From David, I remember this. That is valuable. That has a place in the new home. I'm bringing that with me. And then there are things that might be in the box as you contemplate and meditate on this that are like, yeah, that can go. That experience, that whatever, that can go. And then there are the mysterious things in the mystery box. And those are the things I invite us to really concentrate on so that we're not carrying with us energetic things. I've walked into communities where, I remember one time when I was launching after several years in my new ministry in Oregon, and it had come from a minister who had been in Oregon for a long time. Was a legend. Our church was a mega church, and she was a New Thought legend, and it went through a hard time and a difficult circumstance and a financial bankruptcy and a scandal and all of these different things. And we had done a lot of healing to get rid of those boxes, to not carry that old baggage with us, to let go of all that mystery stuff, and we were doing really well. And I was at a men's retreat, and we were talking about, sharing about some of the struggles that I was having in the midst of 5-7 years in at this point. And I said, I just don't know why this, that, and the other. And I don't remember the particulars of those questions, but it was actually about we were an independent church, meaning we were on our own. We weren't associated directly as an affiliate member with CSL or Unity or any other group. And there were some things related to that. There was some real value in that, but there were some other things that were related in that were challenging. And I was struggling with those challenges. And I remember somebody asked me, and they said, well, why is that a struggle for you? And something blurted out of me, and it was like, well, I don't know whose value this is. And I said, so I got to check in with you guys, and it was guys in the room, and we went around the room, and people didn't even know. They said, well, we had no idea. I didn't know if we were affiliated or not, but it's of no consequence to me one way or the other. But if there are resources and ways in which you can be supported and served as our senior minister by being affiliated with somebody, well, then you should go do that. That would be valuable. And for me, it was this aha moment of unpacking something out of the box that was this old thing that did not belong to me. It was the value of being independent. And it wasn't mine. It belonged to somebody else. It was the other ministers. And it wasn't good or bad. It wasn't right or wrong, but it was hers, but it wasn't mine. And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to take this. And I said, I literally at the retreat, I said, I'm just going to leave this right here. And I really wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I just put it on the floor. And I just said, we got to go back. We got to talk to all the ladies and everybody else in the community, but we're going to talk to everybody. We're going to have a community meeting, but I'm going to do this again in the community meeting. And I did. And so we're just going to lay that right there. And if it's important for anybody, then they'll need to come pick it up. And otherwise, we're just going to walk away. Right? And several years later, we affiliated with Centers for Spiritual Living, which we had a whole committee that investigated whether it was Unity or CSL. And there was 2 different CSL versions at that time, et cetera, but we won't get into that story. But the point was, we unpacked that. Let's not carry things with us that don't serve, or we don't know where they belong or who they belong to. And sometimes the reason You can move towns and have the same issues show up. You can move relationships and have the same person show up. You can move jobs and have the same issues and same supervisors show up and the same whatever show up, is because you're carrying things in that mystery box that you haven't looked at. And it's time to examine them and let them go so that you don't carry stuff that you don't need and that is actually working against you. Amen? And so, all of that to say that we are on the move as a community. And I wanted to look at this. The SLCA is on the move. What does that really mean as we look at this new opportunity and this new thing that we're stepping into? I think it first means that we're motivated by our mission of transforming lives, our mission of making the world a better place, our vision of helping create a world that works for everyone. We're motivated. If you're not motivated by your mission and vision, then you need a new one, right? If you're not motivated by it, then it's not going to move you. It's not going to move you into action. It's not going to move you into taking the next step in your life. It's not going to move you into getting that better job or the degree or improving yourself in relationship. Or if you're not motivated by your mission, then it's not going to move you. Got to be motivated by it. Does it motivate you? Does it make you get up and say, let's get to work on that? We're motivated by our vision and mission, yes? I'm motivated by our mission and vision. I think it's exciting about awakening humanity and making a world that works for everyone. I think there's grit and elbow grease that has to be applied in order to make that vision live. It doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen by default. It doesn't happen by just singing some happy songs. It takes some work. And I appreciate that about it. It causes me to study and grow and share and expand, and I hope that it does for you too. We are open to receive our good and to share it. Open to receive our good and to share it. Open to have new experiences and new thoughts. Like I said, when we experimented over at the Unitarian space in the afternoon and so many people came and I was so happy, I said, congratulations for having a new thought. Because I know people that have been a new thought for 40 years and haven't had one. You know? So we got to be open to receiving our good and sharing it, open to new ideas, open to new ways of being and expressing, and open to sharing that with others, keeping the doors open. That we're vital to the well-being of community, that your presence is vital to the well-being of community, the collective community. That community that is 76% stressed out about the state of our nation, 70 whatever percent stressed out about inflation, stressed out about violence, stressed out about our politics, stressed out that our presence matters, that it's vital, that there's a place to gather and a place to belong. And energized and engaged in a new level of community. Energized and engaged at a new level. We're creating community, not just a different service time, but a whole new level of engagement. Because what I'm really clear about is what the world needs is the opportunity to have that place, as we have on the front of our shirts, so you belong, a place of belonging, a place to sink in and dive deep. And you know, there will still be the opportunity to just kind of dip in for service and dip out when you're ready and go get to whatever's next in your schedule in your day. But there will also be the opportunity to dive deep. To not just come, but to come to study, as some people do early in the morning for adult study, to do that online, to come in the afternoon, to have that inspiration, and then to eat and commune together, to actually sit down. And then the opportunity for these short classes that we're going to do right after, so that, you know, if you've got a family or it's just yourself or whoever it is, that you can come in the afternoon, you can get inspired, you can get physically fed, you can take a class and have it all done. You're home by 6:30, 7 o'clock tops and ready for Monday. We're not asking you to come back on a Tuesday night for class. We're not asking you to come back on Wednesday night for this or that. There will be Ursula's meditation and other things that will happen if you happen to be out and about and you want that. But there'll be the opportunity to dive deep on Sundays in a way that we haven't been able to provide before. Because the world needs a place of belonging. For some of us, our expressions of rugged individualism, we have to come to the admission that our expressions of rugged individualism is actually a trauma response. I'll say that again because I know some of you missed it. It's getting late. I need to wrap it up. Our, our expressions of rugged individuality. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need all that community stuff. I just need to dip in and get my thing and go on and go. It's actually a trauma response. I know some of us have been cheated and let down and disappointed and discounted and dismissed and had pain associated with community and with trust. We're isolated because it feels safer, but we aren't free. But there's a place where we belong, a place where trust can be rebuilt, a trust where diving deep and opening ourselves up heals our soul in a way that we don't even know that we need right now. But the world is begging for it as we see all of the change that's happening around us. Are you following what I'm saying? And so this move to transform, to connect, to deepen into mission, vision, and purpose, to create a world that works for everyone. It's an exciting time to launch ourselves into the creative possibilities of what the world is actually calling to us. And so I want to end with just a prayer. We briefly drove by it, but I want to acknowledge, as we center on the flame, I want to acknowledge on Pentecost Sunday. I honestly, God, I didn't put that together until I was talking to y'all, right? But I want to acknowledge the presence and the legacy that is in the room. Those that are from the Kennedy era. I want you to feel the blessing. The blessing that you are, because you bring that presence, that wisdom, that insight, that history, that knowledge, that legacy with you. And the blessing that we give to you for bringing that into the room, that you contribute to this space. If you came from the Gagne era, the High Museum and all of that represented for that time, the legacy of the baton being passed to the student, and the student became the teacher, and the growth and expansion during that period of time, and all that you bring of your flowering, of your insight, of your growth, who you were when you walked in the door, and who you are now. You bring all of that into this room for everybody who is brand new walking in the door for the first time. And if you came from the David Alt era, who for me, as somebody I grew up admiring in this movement, represents heart and represents beautiful, poetic storytelling that can move you to tears at the drop of a hat. Oh, he's so good at it. Makes me mad sometimes. Because I didn't get that. I got something else, but I didn't get that. Spirit was handing out the gifts of ministry. Some got a heaping of that storytelling power. But I honor the power that is, the presence that is, the beauty that it is. And it's with us. It's in the room. Because you bring it, and we honor it. And the now, and everything that we're growing into in prophetic ministry and speaking to the world around us, contextualizing to the world that is happening and unfolding in real time in our eyes, and how to apply our teaching to it. And the opportunity to lean on the legacy of what has gone before and fan it with the flames of our faith today, so that it grows into a fire that we can share with others. Take a breath in. Wherever you fit in that timeline, know that you are loved, you are acknowledged, you are seen, you are heard, and you belong. And we are moving into something great and wonderful together, where there is room at the table for all, as we truly step into the church without walls, that has a beautiful space to call home, and an anchoring space from which to expand beyond and continue to spread the message that we are more than just a building. We are more than just a space. We are more than just what happens in the context of that space. Ernest Holmes says in one of the most beautiful building dedications he ever did, the Whittier Church of Religious Science, he said, buildings are beautiful, but what happens after they are built, after they are dedicated, That is what is most important, not the buildings themselves, but what happens in them. And so I acknowledge and affirm that everything that has happened in this space, Claremont Road, off of behind, as I used to say every Sunday, there's something wonderful happening behind the extended stay. Which might be news for some people, but there's something wonderful happening behind the extended stay. And that something wonderful is coming out and getting a little bit more public, a little bit more seen, a little bit more visibility, and moving on to its next great expression. And we take all of this good with us, pressed down and overflowing. I'm truly grateful and thankful for it as I release it and allow it to be. Let's close with our affirmation again. I got a little lost from my notes there. That's okay. We're just going to close the computer. I'm not even going to try. Take a breath. I shine my unique light of life's center stage. I honor the past through healing, shining, and moving into greater good day by day. And so it is, and so we are. Peace and blessings.
Well, Reverend David, you may feel like you didn't get the storytelling thing down, but I think a lot of people would beg to differ because you do your own thing and it is c'est magnifique. We're all doing our own thing and we're dancing through it. I'm doing my thing, ain't nothing to it. I'm dancing through it, just doing my thing. Well, I'm doing my thing, ain't nothing to it. I'm dancing through it, oh, doing my thing. When the morning sun comes up, I rise and greet the day. I allow the universe to let things go my way. I spend every waking moment joyful and in praise. Dialogue with spirit nearer to thee as I pray. I'm doing my thing, ain't nothing to it. I'm dancing through it, just doing my thing. Doing my thing, ain't nothing to it. I'm dancing through it, oh, doing my thing. And when the storms come rolling in, I stand on solid ground, holding on to all my hope, 'cause miracles abound. And even if I'm feeling lost, I know I will be found. All my angels always lift me up when I am down. I'm doing my thing, ain't nothing to it. Well, I'm dancing through it, just doing my thing. Doing my thing, ain't nothing to it. I'm dancing through it, oh, doing my thing. And everything is okay. 'Cause everyone's doing that thing in their unique and special way. Just like SLCA. Woo, you're doing your thing. Oh, you're doing your thing, ain't nothing to it. We're dancing through it, oh, doing our thing. We're dancing through it, yeah, we're just doing our thing. We're dancing through it, oh, doing our thing.
Well, we're doing our thing, and we thank you for doing your thing with us these past Sundays.
Thank you.
And Reverend David, as always, you're a storyteller. You are, okay? Takes one to know one, okay? And so with all of us, what are we carrying? Just make sure we sort through our stuff and clear out everything that does not serve the highest good. Okay, so just thank you for choosing the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as part of your celebration today. As we enter our time of grateful giving, we want to thank each of you who faithfully gives to SLCA. It is because of your contributions that we can continue to spread our message of oneness. If you are inspired by this message today, please consider becoming a recurring pledger or give what is on your heart. You can conveniently text your gift to 404-800-9467. It should be up here behind me. You may also give with a credit card on our website or by using our digital program with the QR code displayed on the screen. If you wish to give by cash, we still take it, or check, a member of our welcome team will be coming through the aisles shortly to receive your contribution. As you hold your pledge card or gift close to your heart, please join me in saying our grateful giving affirmation. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. Thank you.
Breathe into the moment. Breathe into time. Quieting the heartbeat. Quieting the mind. Listening and allowing. Knowing the way will be shown in good time. Breathe into this moment. Breathe into time. Breathe into this moment. Breathe into time. Quieting the heartbeat. Quieting the mind. Listening and allowing. Knowing the way will be shown in good time. Let's breathe into this moment. Breathe into this space. Breathe into this moment. And breathe into time.
That was beautiful, Jennifer. Hello, everybody. I'm Mally Lapete, and I gladly serve on the Creative Arts team at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. If you're new, if this is your first time, can you let us know by raising your hand or standing? We'd like to acknowledge you. A member of our staff will come to see you. Keep that hand up. Yeah, they're going to find you and give you a card, and we want you to take a moment to fill it out so we can have a welcome ambassador meet with you in the lobby. For those of you who want to know more about our center or how to become a member, please connect with a member of our welcome team after service in our lobby or online. We have so many great opportunities to connect, grow, serve, and give here at SLCA. For more information about today's announcements and other opportunities, please scan that QR code found on the monitor or on the chair in front of you. Have you been wanting to invite a friend to SLCA so you can share with them all the exciting things happening in our community? Yes. This time is now, right now, and there's no better way to do it than next Sunday, June 4th. at the new SLCA home and new 3 p.m. service time. We will be sharing space at the beautiful UUCA campus at 2650 North Druid Hills Road to offer make sure that you arrive early, where practitioners will be ready to offer treatment before service to prepare us for a truly special 3 p.m. kickoff music celebration, followed by a new Flames of the Faith ceremony and an amazing message about self-care from Reverend Dr. David Alexander. Plan to stay after for food and fellowship. I will. There's food. So many things, well, fellowship too, because I love you guys. So many things have been happening in our world that sometimes leave us with more questions than answers, right? So join us from 5 to 6 p.m. on June 4th, next Sunday, for a Self-Care for Peace and Justice workshop with the Reverend Dr. David Alexander and licensed professional counselor and SLCA practitioner Tony Jenkins. If you're interested in serving in our welcome and hospitality team or any of our other teams, we'll be having a training opportunity at our new location this coming Thursday, June 1st. Please see a member of our team after service to sign up for more information. Would all of our practitioners in the house please make yourself known in person and in the online chat now to be recognized? Hello and welcome. Hi. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's okay to not be okay. I love that. We want you to know that right here, right now, you are in this moment. We see you, we hear you, and we love you. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in the room or to reach out to a practitioner online for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. In-person practitioners will be sitting on both sides of the sanctuary after service today. Thank you for joining us today. You belong. Please welcome back onto the stage Dr. Reverend David Alexander for our closing affirmation.
All right. Did I move around that much today? Guess I did. Carpet all discombobulated. All right, so we've been affirming and declaring who we are as a spiritual community. It has manifested in our move and shift, so we look forward to seeing you next week in the afternoon. And let us affirm together one last time. Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta is a divine idea in the mind of God, and as such has all that it needs to fulfill its mission, including the perfect space from which to do its perfect and holy work. And so it is. See you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Sing it like you mean it. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. We will see you next week in the new space, everyone. Go forward and prosper.